Good morning, afternoon, everybody. Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Parsha haazinu. Really? Is it Parsha this week? I'm so busy. Yes. Finished Yom Kippur. Hopefully we're all davened well, we all fasted. And our sukkah's up already. And we're getting ready. Our minim, people putting their sukkahs up. So pretty exciting stuff. But there is a Parsha this week. What's interesting is, as preparing a little bit for Sukkot to see the Sefer of the Ali Shore, Shalom Volby. It's an interesting piece on Sukkot, which takes a pasuk from haazinu. So there you go. So we don't have to put a Dvar Torah for Sukkot because you have it right here. So haazinu Sukkot, right here, go. So we have a pasuk Yud. It's Eyub Eretz Midbar. He found them in the desert, Sohul Yiled Mishimon, desolate, Yisohu, nothing going on there, Yisovenhu, surrounded them, Yevonenehu, and give understanding, Yitzrenhu, and protected them, K'ishon Eno, like the pupil of his eye. So, Shlomo Volby talks about two verbs here, is Yisovenu, encompassing, and Yevonenehu, giving understanding. Maybe binyan, bonain, his boniness, either way, understanding, thought. And Rashi talks about that surrounding in the midbar, Hashem surrounded us. You had the Golem, Ananya Kavod, and inside the Machana was Torah. Hashem gave Torah to Moshe the people. So there's two things that took place for 40 years in the midbar after they left Mitzrayim was the surrounding. The Jews were going to be severed from the world, and at the same time, as protecting from the world, inside Pnimius is to get the Torah. And the Shlomo Volby brings that tefillin is protection, shmira, mezuzah, shmira. So we have mitzvos that kind of protect us from the outside, and we have Torah also protect us from the inside. And he brings the story of Onkelos, who becomes a ger, and the uncle, the Roman Caesar, somebody tries to bring him back, and as he's talking to them, he says, well, he's telling them he wants to stay a Jew, be a ger, and not go back to Rome. And one of the arguments he says is, look at your king. Your king sits in the inside of the palace, sends you, the guards, to do his work, to do his milchama. Unlike our king, our God, Hashem is the first to protect us, surround the Jewish people to protect us, at the same time give us Torah, and he's actually able to be Megayer many of the soldiers until they say, you know what, let's not send any more soldiers because he's actually converting all of them. So there's two pieces here. So Sukkot is really those two things. One is protection from the world and cut off from the world. And once we have the shmira from the world, we can really focus on Hashem. A lot of times we, unfortunately, take our distractions with us inside. You see people with their phones inside, people texting, they're down, the shots, the phones are going off. Daf Yomi, there's a question, they'll pick their phone and they're texting and things like that, checking the weather, things like that. So there's this area or this thought that to really get understanding from Hashem's bonus and close to Hashem, we have to kind of cut out some of the extras of the extra distractions. And this is literally what Sukkot is. Sukkot, after Rosh Hashanah Kippur, we're a little bit more focused, where we see things a little bit more clear. Simon Leva, one of the achates is that confusion. The whole year we look at everything on our own kolchos, everything is our own, and Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur rolls around, and now we understand that wasn't really correct. Our successes and our failures, all our kolchos is really directed from Hashem. And so this is the time we kind of have this clarity. And as the Pri Tzaddik says, it's not just sitting a sukkah, but there's also leaving the house. So what's the two things? Sit in a sukkah. Why have to tell me to leave the house? You go in a sukkah, you're leaving the house. So the Pri Tzaddik says that there's two pieces. It's not just sitting in a sukkah, it's the fact that you actively got up and left your house. The whole year, you have your car, you've seen what the neighbors are doing, what they're growing financially, gashmias-wise, and we leave the house. We have 7 days, especially now after Shemitah. We're a little bit higher level. We don't have to look at our stuff the same way. We had a year closer to Hashem. We learned a little bit more Torah. And Sukkot is actually that. We look at the simplicity of life. We leave our fancy paintings, we leave our fancy cars, we leave our fancy stuff on the side of the house, and we go in the sukkah. And no matter how fancy the next guy is, he's literally going to be in the same sukkah as you. If he's got more money or less money, he may have nicer walls, but look up at the succot, he's going to look up at the same succot as you are. And a plain, very plain succot, very plain, it's 8, and you can see the stars, you can see the clouds, see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's literally what Sukkot is. Sukkot is the time where we kind of get away from the chitzonios and focus on what's important. And by really looking away from the materialistic side of things and focusing on what we do have, we can really enjoy and appreciate Sukkot. And we know the famous machlokes. Sukkot is to commemorate clouds or commemorate real sukkahs that they sat in. And Rav Wolbe says it doesn't really make a difference. Because if we serve sukkahs we do sukkahs the right way, it's all anani hakavod. So we're not really talking so much about commemorating what happened then, but really now, when we sit around the table and on sukkahs and we're singing or having some drinks and we're saying Dvar Torahs and we have some neighbors and some relatives around, are we sitting around just walls, canvas walls, cloth walls, or are we really inside Hashem's protection? Are we really in clouds of Hashem? And hopefully this sukkah, after we look at haazinu, which is a shir, which is very difficult to understand the whole parsha, but it's a song. The whole Torah is a song. And the mashal that I read is the guy's in court, and he knows the judge, but the prosecutor has a lot of good arguments, and the guy's not really sure what's happening here. But at the end, right before the verdict, the judge gives him a nod or a wink, and he sighed of relief. So even though he had this long trial, he knows at the end of the day, it's going to have a good verdict. And that's kind of really what this song that we have. So even though the parsha talks a lot of negative things, destruction, being kicked out, last week before, a lot of tachachos, a lot of sad things. But at the end of the year, and now it's a new year, we know it's a song. We know it's all for the good. And hopefully we kind of remember that as haazinu and sukkot rolls around, that even though we have trials, we had stuff, bad things in the past year, maybe we spend too much time chasing materialistic things. Hopefully we have more clarity, and this year's sukkot we can sit not just in a physical sukkah, but really surrounded by the Shekhinah. Shabbat Shalom. If I don't speak to you, Chag Sameach.